Let's see here. Oh, I activated my mana flash too early. Okay, let me finish this wave, then I can look at chat again. Oh, I might be dead. No. Oh no, we're fine. Yeah, this is working pretty well. I would say. This is working pretty well. Good morning. In my last video, where I showcased the very expensive Gemling stat stacker version that I was using for the past few days, I promised that I would try to make this character work on a much more budget-friendly level, only using a fraction of the budget that I used on the one that I am usually playing on. So today on stream, I built and tested this Gemling stat stacker on a budget that I set out to be at a maximum of 50 divines, including all the costs for the build like gear, skill gems, jeweler's orbs, and all the jewels. All in all, this turned out even better than I expected. The original goal was here to make this character on this budget a very fast and efficient mapper with high rarity. Today on stream though, we managed to also kill T4 Xesht very fast and reliably with this, and also successfully completed multiple T4 simulacrums with it as well. So in this video, I wanted to go over everything that I did here to make this character work like this on the budget we set out as the benchmark. If this video makes you want to level a Gemling as well, also in the description here is my video on the completely OP alt character setup that makes leveling up a Gemling through campaign an absolute breeze. Also in the description, I will attach a POB, a macro planner, including all trade links for all the gear pieces I have gone for here. Disclaimer here again, please make sure to get familiar with the correct usage of the trade site. Trying to copy a build or a gear setup with the exact same stat lines is simply impossible to do at the exact same price points. If you are interested in watching me putting this character together from scratch and buying every single gear piece for it live on stream, the full VOD of the stream where I built the setup will also be linked in the description here. With all of that out of the way, let's get into the build and setup, starting with the character sheet. So we've ended up at around 450 strength, 700 dexterity, and 440 intelligence. Dexterity, in most cases on a Gemling stat stacker, is always going to be the highest stat line and the highest priority attribute-wise. That is because you are getting attack speed from dexterity. Not only you get it from your hovers here, you also get it from the tree from Falcon Technique. I'm also going with an ATD here that increases my dexterity. That is the case because the higher your attack speed is, the faster you can move, which is pretty important while mapping. Movement speed doesn't really matter on this character because you are as fast as you are attacking with your Tempest Flurry. So higher attack speed is going to be higher movement speed basically for this character. So dexterity is always going to be your highest attributes in this case. Strength and intelligence you want at the same level basically. That is because of the use of Jack of all trades here. So you always want to balance out your strength and intelligence around the same level, which is around 440 for me. Of course, we are rest capped. How I managed to get rest capped here, I will go over in the gear section as well. We are, of course, rest capped on all the elemental resistances. For chaos resistance, like I said as well on the more expensive character, I didn't really notice any problems so far with this character being so tanky, especially in maps. I haven't run into any problems so far with this low chaos res. It's not really something you need to prioritize if you want to be safe and go for some chaos res in order to maybe not die as much to any chaos damage. I can only say I didn't so far. I didn't on my more expensive character where I had around 20 chaos res. With this chaos res here, which is even minus, I haven't had any problems so far. So with your high energy shield and with your high life here, and especially when using a jewel with recover mana on kill and recover life on kill, basically while mapping, while you're killing stuff, and your Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder just keeps popping the whole screen, basically, you always regain all of your life back. With the use of Shock Siphon on Herald of Ice here, you are also always recovering your energy shield pretty much instantly. So if you're not one-shot, basically, you will not really die. So with this, even minus Chaos Res, I haven't noticed any problems so far. So this is it for the character sheet. We also ended up with a DPS tooltip of Tempest Flurry of 344k. We have about 19 attacks per second with a rarity of 124. So we are pretty fast. We are, of course, not as fast as a character that is able to get to the cap, basically. The cap is 30.3, but I did kind of feel like that this is more than enough, having the 19 attacks per second, because the biggest problem of this build definitely is that you get stuck on terrain. So you are really, really fast with this character. This is a super, super fast mapper, but the biggest problem is you are gonna get stuck on terrain. And I kind of feel like having a little bit lower attacks per second kind of makes it more controllable, and it is a little bit easier to control to not get stuck on terrain all the time. So it's kind of a good compromise in this case, I think. So let's go over the gear next. Like I said in the beginning, I will attach trade links in the macro planner to every single gear choice I have made here. If you are interested in seeing how I managed to pick these up at the prices that I did and what choices I made, the full VOD of me buying all the gear for this character on stream is going to be linked in the description here. So first choice, of course, in the weapon slot is going to be Pillar of the Cage God. For mapping, I am using the one with the 7% increased attack speed corruption here. The decrease of 1% from the perfect 8% to 7% is going to be a very big decrease in price here. So this cost us 1 divine. On the weapon swap, for bosses, we are using one with 12% increased weapon damage per 5 strength. This was 3 divines. So for mapping, I'm using this one. And for bossing, I'm using the weapon swap number 2 here. Next thing is going to be the series, of course. This is the same one I have been using on my expensive build setup as well. These you can pick up for not more than 50 to 100 exalteds as of making this video. So getting in a series is absolutely crucial, I think, for the tankiness of this budget version here. Just if I remove the series here, you can see I am losing pretty much all of my energy shield. Getting a lot of maximum life and getting a lot of energy shield here is gonna make us much more tanky. So this series is very, very good to have. You can even go with one with a corruption here. I don't think it's gonna be Spirit. That is going to be pretty expensive. But for example, you can get, for example, Power Charges is a nice corruption to get here as well. That is up to you and your price range, of course. In the same vein, and working together with a series is going to be this amulet here. So we are getting 20% increased maximum energy shield on this amulet, and also we are getting maximum life and some mana even as well. So this amulet here gives us 600 energy shield as well, just due to picking up some maximum life, which synergizes well with the series here, and also the 20% increased maximum energy shield. Of course, a very important thing getting on the amulet here is going to be all attributes, and then strength, dexterity, or intelligence. This amulet costs us 4 divines in this case. Next gear slot is going to be Morio Invictus. Of course, in this budget version, it's not going to be possible to get an all-res attributes one. The 4-socket one for attributes and res was 17 divine, and the 5-socket one is 115 divines. That's not going to be in our budget here. So I decided to go with a Morio with 5 sockets with attributes and maximum life to further increase our synergy with the series here and just make us even more tanky. I went with elemental resistances in the socket slot here. So we are getting all res, 25 all res on this Morio. We are also getting a lot of life, and we're also increasing our attributes, of course. This Morio cost us 6 divines, and I think that is the most expensive gear piece next to the ingenuity that we've gotten here. So 6 divines for this. Let's continue with the hover here. These hovers are 4% and 1 to 9. Of course, you can go much higher here, but on the budget, we went with the increased attack speed. You can also go with 3% attack speed and go higher on the lightning damage, of course. That is also a possibility that will probably decrease your attack speed, of course, but you will get more flat damage. So that is a choice you can make as well. For the hovers, in this case, we paid 4 divines as well. Next, we go over to the boots here. Like I said in the beginning, movement speed is not as important here. I went with 25 in this case. Sometimes you do need to move normally, so get out around corners or something. Some movement speed is nice to have, but you don't really need it, since I mentioned before, our movement speed is basically our attack speed with Tempest Flurry. So I went with high tri-res on these ones. I picked up even more maximum life and some mana. Like I said as well, with the use of its series, picking up maximum life is going to be a very nice thing to have here for tankiness. For these boots, we paid 2 divines. Next thing is going to be ingenuity, of course. I went with a 77% ingenuity with some added cold res. Getting to res cap is a little bit tricky on this character on a budget. I will go over what we did to get to the res cap here. Like I said, it's going to be the ingenuity here with some gold res. We have res on 1 ring and on 2 ring. We have all res in this Morior. We have also all res in the gloves and the boots. And I have an ATD with cold res. So that is how we managed to get our res over the cap of 75. So ingenuity 77% with cold res. This cost 6 divines. For rings, you want rings with flat damage, so you definitely want lightning, flat damage, and fire damage. That is the best in slot. You want, ideally, you want lightning damage, cold damage, and fire damage, of course. I went with some fire damage here and some lightning damage on the other one. On this one, we even got some mana. Of course, we want rarity on both of the rings to get us over the 100 here with the use of its series as well. And we want as many attributes as we can get here. So this one has dexterity and int, and this one has strength and dexterity. So both have rarity as well. And on this one, we get some lightning res, and on this one, we get some fire res. It depends on you a little bit what you want to go for again. Get as much flat damage as you can. Ideally, you want at least 2 here, for example. The increased lightning damage percentage-wise is not really that important. So getting flat lightning damage here on attacks would be kind of even better. It depends, of course, again, on your budget. So for these rings, we paid, let me see here, 3 divines and 5 divines. So that is all the gear choices we have made. We are, of course, using a Melting Maelstrom. It's not really needed. You don't really need it, but I thought I just pick it up. It's like half a divine now. Why not just pick it up to... yeah, the chaos damage is not really noticeable we are getting here. So yeah, why not use it if we are able to? Of course, using also a Stone Charm. So that were all the gear choices that we have made here. Like I said, I will attach trade links. Please remember, just by putting in the stats here, like, let's say you want this ring, for example, or you want a ring similar to this, just putting in 35 lightning res, 30 intelligence, 46 dexterity, rarity, increased lightning damage, and added fire damage. This will not give you the results you are looking for. Please remember the correct use of the trade side. Do your own work a little bit. See what you can do, where you have to get resistances. Maybe you have to get some resistances on the amulet as well, and you can forego it on the boots or whatever. Yeah, I will attach the trade links anyway, so you can do this and try to copy this as best as possible. Next, go over all the skill gems. We do have some extra added cost on the skill gems here, both on Tempest Flurry, Charge Staff, and Tempest Bow. We are using the full 5 slots, so we do need a Perfect Jeweler's Orb per skill here. As of recording this video, the Perfect Jeweler's Orb was 2 divine per. So we are using it, like I said, on Tempest Flurry, on Charge Staff, and on Tempest Bow. That is because the boss damage is kinda a little bit lower, of course, than compared with the more expensive version. I was kind of surprised by the amount of boss damage we were able to dish out here. but I decided to go with the full 5 slots on Charge Staff, Tempest Bell, and Tempest Flurry to increase our boss damage. We have absolutely no problems with damage on masses of mobs on maps, so the main focus here was to increase our damage on bosses for Tempest Bell, Charge Staff, and Tempest Flurry. So on Tempest Flurry, I am using Inspiration, Rage, Primal Armament, Bullseye, and Martial Tempo. On Herald of Thunder, we are using 4 slots. This Tempest Flurry, by the way, is level 20. On Herald of Thunder, which is a level 19, so you don't have to get the expensive level 20 Spirit Gem, of course. So on Herald of Thunder, I am using Cold Infusion, Glaciation, Ambush, and Ice Bite. On Herald of Ice, I am using Magnified Effect, Shock Siphon, Innervate, and Conduction. For Herald of Ice, it is also a level 19 gem. Charge Staff is level 20. It is Persistence, Cold Exposure, Lightning Exposure, Strip Away, and Cooling Strike. Combat Frenzy, also level 19. You can also get a level 20 here, but not really needed to save some money again. Profusion and Precision. For Tempest Bell, level 20 again. Leverage, Overabundance, Close Combat, Concentrated Effect, and Rising Tempest. This is going to be our boss color here, so I am choosing to get all 5 slots. On Weapon Swap for the second weapon set for bossing, again, we are disabling Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder, of course, because we don't need it for bossing. It is the same as the other set. We are using Cast on Shock with Eye of Winter, with Impetus, with Energy Retention, and Deceleration. That is all for the skill gems here. When I'm doing Simulacrum, I am making slight changes here. You do need to do some setup for Simulacrum since it is still pretty hard, but I was really surprised how well it worked. On Simulacrum, I'm using Herald of Ice, not with Magnified Effect. I'm not using Herald of Ice at all because the Simulacrum monsters are actually immune to being shattered, so no use in using Herald of Ice. So when I'm doing Simulacrum, I'm using Grim Feast instead of Herald of Ice, and I'm using the Magnified Effect on the Tempest Bell. So that is the main change I am doing for Simulacrum. I'm also using Shock Siphon instead of Herald of Ice on Charge Staff. So that makes Simulacrum much easier using Shock Siphon on here, so you always retain your energy shield. So that is the change for Simulacrum I do in the skill gems. Otherwise, this is pretty much the standard setup that I'm using skill gem-wise here. The passive tree is basically the same as the more expensive version. The main difference is going to be that I'm not using the From Nothing with Resonance here, since it is way too expensive for a more budget-friendly version here, and instead of a Dexterity and Intelligence ATD, I am using one with Dexterity and Cold Rest. This ATD was for Divines, and this is still the best slot to use it in. We have Anointed Spaghettification, so we get 4% Dexterity here. I'm also using Deep Trance for 4% Dexterity, also using True Strike, and for the Jugular for 4%. So this is giving us 16% increased Dexterity, and also we are getting 20 Cold Rest from the small nodes here. So this is only for Divines, and I think this setup here is the absolute best way to use it for. Also, with the passive tree being most of the same, then the more expensive setup has as well. The big difference, of course, is going to be the jewels. I'm not using an Adorned here for obvious reasons. I am using the Sapphires here for some increased maximum energy shield, some critical damage bonus, some increased chance to shock, and some magnitude of shock. These 4 stats is basically everything you want on this character. I am not using all Sapphires though, because you just want a little bit here on these ones. And also, like I mentioned before, I'm using this Sapphire here for Recover Life on Kill and Recover Mana on Kill. This also has increased maximum energy shield again. For the other jewel slots, I'm only using emeralds. So on every single emerald, I am trying to get a corruption with an attribute. I'm also trying to get attack speed with quarterstaves. I'm getting some herald skills, deal increased damage, and then everything else is just bonus. So increased lightning damage in this case. This one has, of course, again, increased attack speed with quarterstaves, elemental damage, and hits against rare and unique enemies. Just like the other gear pieces, I will attach a trade links for emeralds and sapphires in the description again. So this again, attack speed with quarterstaves, herald skills, and increased damage with hits against rare and unique enemies again. Next one, strength, corrupted, lightning damage, damage with quarterstaves, and attack speed with quarterstaves. Again, attack speed with quarterstaves, lightning damage, and herald skills damage. Next one, elemental damage, attack speed with quarterstaves again, and increased lightning damage again. And the next one, again, intelligence, lightning damage, attack speed, elemental damage, and that's it. That's it for the jewels. Like I said, with the other stuff, I will attach trade links again. These jewels, none of these jewels were more expensive than 1 divine. For all the jewels, we paid 10 divines, including the ATD here. So going over everything again, for the gear, we paid 35 divines. For the skill gems, or more the perfect jewelers orb, the 3, we paid 6 divines. And for all jewels combined, we paid 10 divines. So we did stay a little bit over the budget with 51 overall. So that is going to be the passive tree. You can look it up on the macro planner, of course, and all the jewels too. So that concludes the budget version of the Gemling attribute stacker here. I hope you enjoyed this. We enjoyed it a lot when building it on stream today, and I really have to say I was very surprised by the result here. I'm kind of feeling that I will just play on this and go a little bit more in detail on this build iteration right here, because I do not really feel the need to go with the more expensive version again. I'm basically just mapping at the moment. I kind of feel like I'm gonna go a little bit optimization here, just try to get some incremental upgrades on maybe rarity or even some more attack speed, or maybe just optimizing this a little bit more, but not going over a certain budget again. So I'm super happy how this turned out, and I hope this helps a lot of you people get a Gemling to a price point that is more suitable for more players. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you are new to this channel, I am streaming every day, Monday to Friday on Twitch, which is going to be linked as well in the description here. I'm streaming every day, Monday to Friday. I start my stream at around 9 a.m. CET, so I'll be super happy if you have any question, or if you want to watch me play this build or any other builds that I put here on YouTube. Check out the stream, maybe say hi. Otherwise, have a great rest to your day. Thank you so much for watching again. Have a great one. Love you. Bye.